Welcome back, everybody. We're live, equal time. This is the Summer League Soccer Show. Liz is back. I've missed you, Liz. It's been a while.
I know it's been 2 episodes. I feel bad, but I've missed you too as well.
we're in the thick of it though, and it's really fun to see games actually starting. I'm sure you have games in California too. What's going on with you? For people who haven't heard, Liz, is a part of the team who helps run California Storm, which is a really big historic WPSL team in California. How's it been going with California Storm this year?
It's been pretty good. We had our season kickoff gala, and we just started our Hall of Fame because we're like 25 years old. So we, have some alumni, who are older. So we got to kick off that event with them. Brandy Chastain, Leslie Osborne was there. Tracy Ham. I'm a big fan of Tracy Ham. So yeah, it was just really cool to kind of see like how important the team is for the community, and yeah, it was great. And as for team, we don't play until June 1st. We do have a couple. We had a couple teams already start playing now, so they're really early. But yeah, it's kicking off.
Nice.
Yes, and tell me everything. Minnesota Aurora starts tomorrow, so it's sold out. Big.
Yeah, I'm wearing the original logo. It's really exciting. Like it's just it's been kind of surreal because when you read the numbers, it's kind of historic, but you don't want to be hyperbolizing it. So it's so real that it's tomorrow. I told Liz I was just bartending at the Black Heart 10 minutes before this. I served a drink, and I was serving the USL. The commissioner of the women's leagues was there, and I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry, but she was there, and I recognized her. And
is Betsy or Amanda?
It was Amanda there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I was telling how incredible, that made it very real that the commissioner of the league was here for the game tomorrow.
They're in town. They're ready.
It's going to be fun. And then WPSL has been already started. We had a game this weekend. That's why we have Hailee on. It was a fun game. It was kind of cold, actually. It felt like it was below 50, but it was cold. But there was at least, I would say, 100 fans there. They did a doubleheader with their NPSL team, which is it's cool to see. Cool to see when clubs can do that. We don't have a ton of clubs that have both teams like that. So Joy Athletic is one of those. They're also a team that primarily does a lot of community, like free training for kids and free programming. And so really cool to see Joy Athletic joining WPSL. But the Sioux Falls City team is the team that's come in. There's 3 expansion teams. They are the ones who are making the most noise on social media. They have been the most public, and the game was really exciting. Obviously, they won their first game, so it made it easy to try and think of a guest to get on the show. So I'm excited to introduce that we have a multiple-time, we're going to have to ask questions about just how many times, multiple-time state champion at West Central High School in South Dakota. Go Trojans. She's a keeper for the reigning Summit League champion South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and currently is the undefeated goalkeeper for the Sioux Falls City WPSL team, and someone who has a picture with Casey Keller. Welcome to the show, Hailee Fischer. Hello, Hailee.
Hi.
I'm practicing my intros, Hailee. Was that big enough? Was it?
That was pretty good.
That's awesome. So let's get into it. You're coming off of that opening shutout win. I think it was 2-0 against Joy Athletic with Sioux Falls. So tell us about that first game. How does it feel to win that first ever game in team history? I mean, you have so many teams that are playing right now in the WPSL that are like 25 years old, almost like Sioux Falls is going to be there someday. And you were part of that first win. How's that feel?
That just feels pretty remarkable. I mean, just coming from South Dakota in general, soccer has been behind for quite a while in this state. So just seeing that we have a team like this now in our state is really exciting, just for me as somebody who's been in soccer my whole life. And then our head coach, Dale, before the game kind of talked to us about how do you want to feel after the game? Really keep that in your mind during the whole game, and how do you want to feel after that? And really strive for that as we're playing. And I think as a team together, we really focused on that and playing together as a team as well as we could, with just playing together for a couple weeks, and it was a good place to start for sure.
Yeah, I feel motivated. That's good. Even secondhand, I feel kind of grounded by that. Good job, Dale. The team is really exciting. Like, as someone, I cover the WPSL for Equal Time, and so it's really fun to see a team being really visible and being really public. And of course, it's a really big deal for anyone who lives in the area that the team is on TV. It is on sports programming on Midco that is a regular place where people consume TV sports in the Dakotas. So it's a kind of a very big deal for a WPSL team. And it's just, you can tell if you follow on social the way that the community is getting connected and you're having public events. So I'm just wondering, for you as someone who grew up, right around South Dakota, just like, it feels like, I haven't been in Sioux Falls yet. It feels like it's really gaining traction and like people care. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that and kind of how it feels to see that happening to soccer in your state.
Yes, so we've had a couple appearances in the public, which has just been really good to get out and see soccer in the community too. And people have come up and they've been so excited for it. And they're asking us, "Are you playing for that team?" And they're like, "We're coming to the first game and we're so excited to come, and I'm bringing my daughter and our little boy wants to come too." And I'm like, "That's awesome. That's great to hear." And it is really important for soccer in the state, because that is what I want to see, is like growth and then the youth attraction too, and really getting to a high level team eventually someday too.
Can you remember, because I'm like, for me, being from rural Minnesota, it's like the first team that I ever cared about was just seeing like a men's World Cup game. I think I saw the 99ers, but I didn't watch it as much, or it didn't hit me quite as hard. But I remember just the national team was the only way. So I'm wondering, for you, like, did you ever, go to a college game in South Dakota? Or like, what's the first team you remember thinking, oh, women keep playing this,
Yes, so I would say the first time I really saw soccer, I guess, was the 2008 Olympics when the U.S. women's team were playing. And then in 2011, I actually went to the SDSU soccer camp for the first time. So that's kind of when I saw college players for the first time too. So I would say that's really when I was introduced to it.
I feel like that was around the same time that I was too. Like you're 10 or 11, and when I was that age, like still the U.S. women's national team, and like there weren't any pro teams at the time. So college teams were really my first introduction to being able to play past like youth. And we went to, I'm from like a rural town in California, like still California, but still really rural. And so we went to our local college's team, their game, and it was like, I thought I was
college, Liz? What's the college?
It's Stan State. I mean, it's still like 2 hours away from like a major city, but like I didn't travel a lot when I was that age. But it was Stan State, and I don't even know who they played, but I was like, oh my God, these are professionals. We got autographs and everything. It was so cool. And that's what you are right now to a lot of little kids too, is like they think you're a pro, and you really are. I mean, in all intents, like you are a role model to them. And I think that is really cool. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that roster. So in terms of the roster that Dale, bless him, put together, there's a solid base of players who play at colleges from the Dakotas, along with some from the Twin Cities. So kind of what's been your impression of that mix? How's it in the locker room, or any rivalries? What's that chemistry building process been like for you guys?
Well, you talk about rivalries, but so I'm the only South Dakota State player. There's going to be quite a few USD players, University of South Dakota, which is kind of fun. So actually, my sister is a junior in high school, and she's going to play soccer at USD too.
Oh.
So I know quite a few of those players from her experiences with them, and then just because some of them are from South Dakota. And then a lot of the players that are from South Dakota I've gotten to play with or practice with before too. So it's really fun to be back with them again and see how they've grown and developed since being away, and how they've kind of learned in their own settings at college too. So it's been a lot of fun.
That Yotes, Jack, look, Liz, we all know that coyotes and jackrabbits don't get along.
Yeah, it's true.
And so there's bound to be some tension, but I'm glad you're finding some common ground. Talk to us about high school soccer in South Dakota. Like you said, part of the reason of making a team like this is because you need to have the aspiration to look at, like you have that drive. And so I'm curious, I know I talked before the show, it's relatively new, right? Of even having a structured high school league. So talk about your experience playing high school. I'm wondering, who is your rival? Because you're with West Central Trojans.
So, our biggest rivals were probably either T area high school.
Yeah, so you got to say the full name because some of these names are really interesting, like the Hot Springs Lady Bison or the T Area Lady Tigers. There's one with the dragons. I was like, these are some of the more unique high school mascots I've heard of.
Yes, and then the St. Thomas More Cavaliers was also another team that we pretty much, it was T and them that we faced a lot in championship games.
Well, because I was seeing there's 2 classes. So like that's in Minnesota, it's the same, except there's just more schools. But so like there's 2 classes, single A and double A, and you must play the teams a lot because is there only 10 single A teams or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, and we get to play some of the double A teams too. And sometimes those games would get intense since we would play them every year too. So a little rivalry with them a little bit and wanting to beat them since I was in the lower class too. But yes, we definitely got to know those teams in our class very well.
And did you get a ring or a medal for winning state when you won? Yeah, did you get a Letterman jacket?
Got a medal, got a letter, not a jacket.
No. All right.
That's still awesome though. So how many times have you won a medal then?
So one time I won when we weren't sanctioned. We still had high school soccer, but it wasn't sanctioned. And that was when I was an 8th grader. And then we won 2 more times when I was junior and senior when it was sanctioned.
Got it.
Were you were on varsity when you were in 8th grade?
I was when I was in 7th grade, actually, too. Yeah.
And were you a keeper? Did you play, or were you just?
So in 7th grade, I played on the field, and then 8th grade, I played goalkeeper.
Where'd you play? We gotta know this.
Tell us everything.
I played everywhere on the field. Yeah.
Kind of small. Yeah.
I don't even know how that works. You're in varsity in the 7th grade. How?
Well, I get it from being in a tiny town, but it's still. Your town is a little smaller, but you said to me before, like how big your high school had a few hundred people, right? So not tiny for South Dakota, honestly, not that tiny, but small compared to most.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And you said it wasn't sanctioned, so it would probably be like, okay.
Yes, exactly. We didn't have to get the school's permission.
Got it. Okay.
That happens more in like you'll see like a women's basketball player playing in 7th grade in small towns, or like if they're or a dude if they happen to grow. Like it's a novel. Yeah, we're country out there, Liz. This is Hoosiers. It's country. So I'm gonna take a break. I want to take a break to read a message from our sponsor, Pentz Homes. This week's episode is brought to you by Pentz Homes. Pentz Homes is a real estate team with Keller Williams. And Matt personally has experience working with Nate and Lydia when he sold and bought his home last year. Nate has been a supporter of the local soccer community, including as an owner of Minnesota Aurora. Matt also enjoyed working with one of their preferred lenders, Angie Shearer with Luminate Financing. If you have house questions, whether selling, buying, need a furnace or flooring person, shoot them a message over at pentzhomes.com. Shout out. And Nate is a good tipper at the bar. What else do you need from a sponsor?
That tells you everything you need to know about it.
It says a lot. It says a lot. Yeah. I'll say this because now it's coming up. And I was bartending now just 25 minutes ago at the Black Heart and came back. The owner of Union Omaha was there because there's an open cut match between Minnesota United and Union Omaha.
Yeah.
He took I'll say this because he was a good owner. He took the tab for all the Omaha people for like 2 hours. And then he tipped very well. So hats off to you. You did good as the owner, big dog. You did what you should do.
That's awesome.
So shout out to him. And the Union Omaha fans are very nice. So thanks for visiting. Back to the program.
Wait, I want to ask though. So what was like the environment and how was the soccer, in high school compared to like South Dakota State?
Yes. So like I've talked about, soccer in South Dakota is definitely behind a little bit. It's definitely an area that needs growth, I would say. And the environment is very competitive just because it is a school sport and there's a lot on the line and with winning and you want to win. But just the level of soccer and where it needs to be at definitely needs to grow a lot more.
Talk about the transition when you arrived at South Dakota State then, because everywhere that's true. Even if you played at a really good, one of the best academies in the Twin Cities and then went to the U of M, you'd be like, what? I mean, I'm sure, very few don't feel that. But talk about what you noticed most, like, especially, and as a keeper, what stood out, like,
Right. So I would say the biggest thing, I guess, that kind of stood out coming to South Dakota State is just the mindset of the players
Mm-hmm.
and kind of how that made them just different than just people that play soccer. They're going and playing soccer and they're very intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like a professional type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting on board with the team and being a part of the team really makes a difference, and that will help you a lot going into college. And I've really found that to be true. At first, I think when you're coming in, you focus a lot on yourself and what you need to do. But once you really give into that and being a part of the team, then you're able to learn more, grow more. And it seems to happen really fast too, honestly, too. Yeah.
Well, and it's a competitive team. I mean, like there's a difference in team culture when a team has been winning and expects to win. I mean, you've been a part of that. It's that you've been on the upswing still. But yeah, I could imagine how that's contagious because, how can 10 teams in a single A and South, like that can't create the same type of intensity as when you're getting that level. South Dakota State. We found an interview. There's shout out to 605 Soccer. This is a YouTube account I found. And they don't I haven't seen recent posts, but they basically are doing what Equal Time did, but it was for high school soccer in South Dakota. And I'm assuming, context clues as a rural person, 605 is the area code.
Yes.
Not that hard to figure out.
For the whole state, yes.
Minnesota, we have like 5 in Minnesota, so we're big time. But that's what I figured. So, but it was really funny because, and I was talking to Hailee about this before, and I think I am going to put the video in the thread after this show because it's on YouTube anyway. But she was, I think, 14, and the answers were so professional, and it was really funny. So anyone should go watch that.
No.
But shout out. Do you remember anyone at 605 you want to shout out, Hailee?
Well, I really liked Carol. Carol was really nice, and she always supported me and really wanted me to do well. So, yeah.
And it was women doing the interviews, which was cool. But we found one about you playing ODP, and so I wanted to ask about that because ODP is a little bit more phasing out when we have different academy structures. But when you're in a state like South Dakota, it can be a very useful tool to be seen if you aren't otherwise. So I'm just wondering for that too, how your experience was jumping up, because that must have been a level up. And who did you get to play with? Like from where were the players?
Yeah, so ODP, I did my first year in 2011, actually.
Whoa.
And then after that, I didn't really continue with it until I was 16. Mm-hmm. And we got to play in a little regional event or interregional event with Nebraska and Kansas, I think.
Okay.
And a few other teams like that, or states like that, if I remember. And then after that, I got to go to the regional event where it was a camp.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet a lot of I just remember the goalkeepers a lot because we were in around goalkeepers. So I got to be around a goalkeeper at Michigan State. I got to be around a goalkeeper at Creighton. I got to be just in and around a lot of players that are playing like at South Carolina. I remember hearing that and just being like, oh my gosh. Oh, she's going to South Carolina and I'm saying, I'm going to South Dakota State. And they're like, what is that place? But I just remember going to that environment and definitely getting a little bit shell shocked because I saw kind of how far, I'd say behind I was and where I could be potentially too. And it was a really great experience though. I think a lot of players need that experience when they're younger.
Well, you can't be the best player on your team and keep growing. Like you have to, you want to see that level of where it can go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you mentioned that people didn't know South Dakota State, but I mean, I feel like it's got to be on the map now because you guys are reigning Summit League champs. You beat regular season champs Denver in the final. So talk about winning that conference tournament last year.
Yes, so that conference tournament was pretty special because we lost to them in our last regular season game. And going into that game, we had the championship game. We had a really solid game plan, I would say. And it was changing our formation actually going into the game too. And we'd never played that formation all year long. So everybody at first was a little tentative, I think, and that's why the score maybe reflected that. But then eventually, as you saw us on the field, it was like, wow, this is the team that I know we could be all year long. And it was really fun to watch because there were so many players that stepped up and did amazing things. And that conference championship game was really fun. And I was actually hurt all last season.
Right.
So just being able to get to see my teammates grow all season long like I did, it was really, really fun to win that conference tournament. And I'm really proud of our team for sure.
And it was in Denver, right? Because they were the top seed. So you were playing at there. And how do the crowds? I know they're a good soccer program. Do they get decent crowds for the game?
Oh, yeah, they do. But I would say shout out to our crowd. We had a great traveling group that came. And, oh, yeah, our parents are awesome. Our parents and families are awesome.
Our parents are insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Well, I was talking to the NDSU. Don't need to mention the Bison on this South Dakota podcast. You guys are the champs. I can mention the Bison. I mentioned the Bison went to England for a trip, which was so cool. And shout out to the coach who brought the seniors who couldn't go from the last year when it was canceled too. That was a cool move. And I met parents at a scrimmage. The Gophers were playing the Bison in the scrimmage this spring. And they were like, yeah, we were over there. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we went to London too. And I was like, okay, different. All right, that's a whole other level of following the games. But it is cool because they got But I thought that was very funny. I wanted to ask about your injury you'd had a serious injury before, right? Had you had a different?
Yes. So in college, I have torn both ACLs.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious. So doing it twice. By the way, I just broke my ankle last spring. And so this is the only time I've had a really serious injury. So and it was a very boring winter, let me tell you. But so I'm curious what you learned because in a way, the second one is probably even more demoralizing in a way. But then of course you have some skills built up of like how you learn to cope and what you learned you could take out of it. I'm guessing, right?
Yes, I would say that definitely made a difference the second time. And the first time, I would say I kind of just coasted through it. Like I was on the team, but I didn't really put myself in a spot that would make a difference on the team. And this second time, Brock was very intentional with me about still impacting the culture in a positive way and finding a role that could really help the goalkeepers that were on our team and everybody else on the team too.
Yeah, that's goalkeepers union right there. Like,
oh yeah,
even if you're not the starting goalkeeper, you're second or you're third or you're injured, like that's so important. You're providing so much mental support to your other goalkeepers.
Yes, definitely. I mean, nobody really understands what we go through other than ourselves. So yeah, definitely need that.
So, I mean, now you're healthy and you obviously won the other day. But, you have the rest of your season with Sioux Falls. What are some of your goals? What are you hoping to achieve with the team? What do you think the team's goals are?
Yeah, so I would say our goals as a team is to just really make a difference in the conference this year. Like coming in and showing that this is a team that we aren't just waiting to develop for years. We want to come in and make an impact right away if we can and when possible. So really trying to be intentional in practice right now and train as a team and take what Dale is giving us and learning from it. And I would say for myself, the goal that I have is just to grow every game, learn a little bit more and try to get better every game and figure out kind of how I can help the team in the best ways possible too.
Yeah, you are one of the more experienced players. I mean, you have a lot of players with college experience, but yeah, and how do you feel in terms of your health with the injuries now? I mean, it's probably, it happened in the spring, right? Last spring. So you're probably feeling close to back to normal.
Yes, I am feeling pretty good right now. Yeah.
Do you wear a brace? Do you wear braces?
No, I don't.
I didn't know if it'd be like make you feel, but yeah, that's a unique thing. Also, I don't know if our ACLs affected at all by like all the diving and getting up. I played some terrible goalkeeper, like like hitting the ground and like is that stuff actually, or is it more just the planted moves on saves maybe?
I would say planting and like change of direction and jumping is a little bit more of where that comes in. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get some somewhat rapid fires to wrap it up. We'll go through some questions about soccer and about South Dakota. So who is your favorite? I try to ask this of all the guests. Who is your favorite women's national team player?
Oh, my favorite women's national team player? I really like Lindsey Horan, and I actually have her old number 9 jersey too. So I really like Lindsey Horan.
You didn't get a jersey from her, right? You just
no, I did not. I wish.
That was before. Now she's like number 10, right? So that was when she was number 9. That's a solid fit, and she just won Champions League. Solid favorite. Okay, your favorite team to watch, pro or otherwise?
My favorite team to watch. Well, right now I have really enjoyed watching the Washington Spirit. I would say has been one of my favorite teams to watch. Yeah. I just ordered that they have. It's really cool to see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they've really. Last year was really rough for them. I know this is rapid fire, and I'm like trying to talk about everyone.
Hey, you got the $1 million player. You got Trinity Rodman, baby.
Yes.
They are fun to watch. A lot of combination, like her and another podcast was raving about that. Yeah, that's great. What team do you most want to beat at South Dakota State?
Oh, the team we most want to beat. Well, I would say for myself personally is Omaha.
Oh, okay.
We have tied them so much in my career.
Okay.
At SDSU, and it's kind of frustrating. Yeah. Yeah.
They have a midfielder who played for like Mankato. It was a random one, like a girl they got, and she was a defensive midfielder, and she was crazy good. I totally forget her name, but yeah, that's funny. It's not North Dakota State didn't even earn a rivalry with you on that. The Bison aren't even in the picture, and the Yotes aren't either.
They're there too.
What's your favorite place to play away games in?
Denver is really cool. Oral Roberts is really cool too. Yeah.
Is it a nice stadium or good view like at Oral Roberts?
It's just it's kind of a cool stadium because they have men's soccer too. So it's a little bit different for sure.
Right on.
Do they have good food?
You said good food?
Good food, yeah.
Yes. Well, actually, that's funny. We get barbecue usually after the games there. And it's good.
I was going to joke, but yeah, it's like, that's probably what you get. Yeah. All right. Are we going to see you back as a Jackrabbit in the fall? Are you going back to play? I don't know your eligibility with injury and COVID.
Yes. So I have 2 more years of eligibility planned with them.
Right on. Are you going to stay? Are you moving into like masters? I don't know what academic year you are, but that must be, you were getting into a master's program or something.
So my program's a 5-year program with elementary education.
Oh yeah.
But then I will start my master's. Yes.
That's intense. Yeah. Ed's no joke. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. 5 years. Wow. What are you binging right now?
Binging? Working Moms, because they just came out with another season.
Okay.
I love it. What's your favorite thing about South Dakota? Or you could also, I'm curious too, you can give us South Dakota, but I want to know, what's your town, the town you're from? Hammond? No.
Hartford. Yep. Hartford.
What's your favorite thing about Hartford, South Dakota, and then South Dakota at large?
My favorite thing about Hartford is the people, because sports is a really big deal here and the community just really supports that. So it's awesome to see. My favorite part about South Dakota is the Black Hills for sure.
Yeah. Devil's Tower. Liz, you ever been to South Dakota?
No, but okay.
Drive on out. We'll meet at Devil's Tower.
Super quick story, but when I was in the 5th grade, we had this assignment where you had I think it was $20,000 and you had to plan a trip anywhere in the world. And I don't know why I chose South Dakota. because my grandma's from South Dakota. I don't know where, but like she's from there, and so I wanted to go there and like go where she grew up. And I don't know why it took $20,000. I think it's because I decided I wanted to rent a Humvee, like one of those Humvees, like a Hummer. And all the gas and the rental was so expensive to drive there. And I stayed at like really nice places.
It's a fun teacher. It's a fun teacher for sure. 20 grand will get you a little tiny house in some place in South Dakota.
You could go anywhere. Yeah, exactly. And then stay there for like 3 months, but yeah, that was a really fun assignment. But yeah, okay. I have not been. But last question, the most important one. I'm just kidding. It's not the most important. Tell us the Casey Keller story.
So, I could give you the short story. Casey Keller is actually married to my second cousin.
Ooh, no, don't. Then how dare you give us a short story? That's so sick. Yeah, that's amazing.
How does that get longer? I want to know.
So, I mean, just really cool. Like, I've gotten to meet and hang out with Casey quite a few times in my life. I got to watch him play his last season in the MLS. I got to go watch him play in Kansas City. I've got up here, I think I do. I've got my Casey Keller stuff.
Yeah.
It's autographed. I have for my graduation, he gave me his old U.S. national team jersey autographed too. So.
That's so awesome.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've gotten he comes to South Dakota and actually he likes to hunt deer and pheasant. So I've got to do that with him and train with him as well out there. So.
That's cool.
Okay. Well,
that was really cool.
That's awesome. When I talk about the first men I remember seeing, it's like I remember Casey Keller of the trainer. That's amazing. That blew my mind. That's great. We'll talk about training with him is what I wanted to ask. Where?
Yes. So, my great aunt has land in West River, South Dakota. So that's where we hunt. And so he was like, I'm coming out that week, and do you want to come? And he's like, you're coming? Do you want to train that week? And I was like, yeah, I want to train that week. And he's the reason why I would wear Puma gloves when I was younger. I was number 18. That's why I'm number 18 on my team this summer. Like, that's definitely the first goalkeeper that I looked up to, and I wanted to play.
Married. So, like, he was married when you were a kid. He was married to your cousin.
Yeah, my second cousin. Yeah.
Wait, so you were watching him in the World? Well, I don't know how old you are. It's like, so he was playing in the World Cup. You're like, what up, cuz? Like in 06. But you were, I don't know if you were born.
No, I don't think I was. No.
You don't think you were? Yeah.
No, otherwise I would have been really, really young and probably wouldn't have known.
Oh man. Well, it means a lot to me and Liz. That means a lot.
Yeah, I feel old.
Where did you just? I need to know one more because here's the thing. Like, you're at a South Dakota farm. Did you guys find a soccer field to train at, or were you training in some field where you're gonna cut up Casey Keller on some like hay?
No, not on hay.
I've played on bad fields. I've played on country fields.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like we didn't really even have a ball there, but thank goodness my aunts had a ball that he had given them before. So that was. What did he do?
What did you do? What did you do for training
we did a lot of just handling and diving. And he was it was very interesting. He was like, I want you to move your feet a lot. He was not a big fan of like diving a lot. So that was kind of the first time that I like learned about handling very seriously. So it was fun.
Right. Oh my God. If you hadn't had a random picture on your social media, I never would have asked that. And we wouldn't have even, come on. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so that picture's from a Minnesota United game, actually.
Wow.
Because I get to, sometimes if he's broadcast, he travels with the Sounders sometimes still. So he was broadcasting at their game in Minnesota one year, so I got to see him and hang out for a little bit.
Wow. And we thought, Liz, we thought like, Sarah Fuller is the big dog in soccer in Minnesota right now. Hailee is like, guess what? There's some other people pulling some big cards out. I love that. Liz, just check. You have any cousins? Is there some secret cousin you got?
Yeah, I'm related to Jamie Lee Curtis, which Hailee, you will not know who Jamie Lee Curtis is.
Wait, you're not?
You know?
I know who that is.
Okay. I
You're not
forget.
joking?
I'm literally not joking. Her mom was my grandpa's cousin. It's very distant, but we are related. She does not know I exist though. She does
No.
not come hang out with me and share her
No.
Activia yogurt with me. But
Hey, this is the thing. Here's the thing, Hailee. I have Rose Lavelle's signature tattooed on my leg. Casey Keller's welcome. I think I got to do some deep Google. To be honest, you got to Google deep before you do that. But if he comes up, I'm gonna need you to let me know because I'll put that right on the leg. That could be the left leg is the men's leg.
Perfect.
That's amazing, though. What a cool story, and that is so fun. I mean, that's another exposure too, though, for you of like you're seeing him. You're like, this is real. Like I never knew. I can't remember the first time I met a pro athlete probably doing this or something. It's like so. You're like, this is a real thing. Like people like grow and can do good in college and actually, wow. That's so cool. He was, well, and he must have great stories. He played everywhere. He played in Germany, he played in England.
Oh yeah. Well, and he has 2 twin kids and they were in schools over in Europe too. So it's really cool to hear.
They must have the weirdest accents of all time.
So when they were little, they did have accents. We were in South Dakota, and my dad just remembers these kids having accents, and all these other South Dakota kids are like, "Who are these people?"
Yeah. No, not a lot of. Well, yeah, that is so funny. And then they probably got American.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Hailee, for joining. I'm gonna tease that Equal Time will be covering the Aurora game tomorrow. We're doing pregame, and I'm gonna leave this hanging. I'm gonna be a little sassy about it. I'm not revealing my co-host, but it is a former NWSL player, NWSL champion, and U.S. Youth National Team player. So I'm gonna leave that out there, and I'm surprised as well that she's just doing it with me. So we're excited to do pregame and halftime for Aurora tomorrow, and then we'll be hitting some more WPSL games with Hailee's squad. Hailee, I didn't look up. Do you know when your next game is for Sioux Falls City?
Yes, our next game is June 3rd at home.
Awesome.
First home game. Yep.
Ooh, do you expect I'm sure you expect, like a decent, it's the first game, so it's not like everyone will know about it, but I bet you'll get a nice little crowd, honestly.
Yes, we're hoping for a pretty good crowd, so
nice.
It'll be exciting.
Awesome. Tune in, and then I think you guys are streaming it too, right? I mean, it's on 11, or it's on Midco, and then it should be on, so look for the stream on that, because it is really cool. This is high-level soccer, it's right in your backyard, so it's easy to find games. But yeah. Thanks, Hailee, and thank you, Liz, for joining for the Summer League show. We'll be back next week, hopefully.